Well, remember, I started writing uh, about 53 years ago. I started writing novels. I've done 17 novels in about 34 years. Mm-hmm. And that became the main hors d'oeuvre of what I was doing. It became the reason and my main interest was writing novels.
And you started with The Naked Face.
That was the first.
In the 1960s.
Yeah,
and,
50 years ago.
How was the film, the movie they made out of it? Were you happy with it?
It was pretty good. Roger Moore did it. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I wrote, people have said, isn't it wonderful you finally fulfilled your lifelong ambition and written a novel? It never occurred to me to write a novel. What happened was that I got an idea that was so introspective. You had to get into the character's head. I didn't know how to do that in the dramatic form. I thought it would have to be the narrative form where you can tell the reader what he's thinking. And it's a story of a psychiatrist whom someone is trying to murder, and yet he has no enemies. But if he's a good psychiatrist, he has to figure out who it is. That was the premise. And I almost dropped it. And if I had dropped it, Henry, I never would have written a novel. But it intrigued me enough so that I wrote it. And then it went out, sold 15,000 copies. The publisher said, for a first book, that's wonderful. And I said, 15,000, no, 17,000. I said, excuse me, I have a show on the air every week that's watched by 20 million people. I'm not thrilled with 17,000 copies of anything. But there was such a feeling of freedom in writing a novel without anyone looking over your shoulder, without an actor saying, change the line, oh boy, I can't read, or a director saying, we'll play it in the mountains instead of the valley, or a producer saying, cut some scenes, it's expensive. When you write a novel, you are the whole cast, the director. You make music with the words instead of with instruments. And it was such a heady feeling that I sat down to write another novel with no expectation it would be any more successful financially than The Naked Face. And that was The Other Side of Midnight. And it changed my life. I have no plot. I start with a character and I start dictating. I don't know what the beginning, the end, or the middle is going to be. In a sense, I'm the reader as well as the writer, because I don't know what's coming next. And at the end of the day, I'll look at the typed pages and I'll be very surprised.
Not to get too spiritual, but where do you think all of this comes from?
It's a gift. Yeah. It's given. I don't think anyone can take any credit for it. You can take credit for working at it, but it is given to us. And again, whether it's painting or music or writing, it's a gift we should be grateful for.